You are now listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast. Relax your anus. Balls. Thick thighs. Camille Shat. Where's his neck? Eddie Jones. You're fucked, mate. We're nice now.
All right. We are recording. We're live.
All right.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
You are listening to the Friends of Rugby. If you didn't know from our intro or clicking on the little icon to start the podcast.
Yeah, we are what we say on the tin. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Hungover? Again. Yeah.
Partied hard.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm old though. I had like 5 strong beers and that's enough. That's enough for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I had 3 light
Had
beers
a little
and
thimble of whiskey and now I'm feeling poorly. No, I'm all right.
yeah, just stuck with the beers.
Mid-tier hangover. I'll be all right by about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, if you stick with one drink,
yeah,
you should be fine.
I'm not going to say. Who has one drink?
No, like one type of drink.
Oh, yeah, I did do that.
You start getting to dangerous territory when you start mixing the drinks.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the problem is as well, a lot of beers these days, the fancy can artwork beers, they're all like fucking 7%. It's ridiculous, mate. It's like drinking a pint of wine.
Yeah, it's like 12%. You're just drinking this beer like, fuck, this beer's like fucking me up. And
you get like immediately buzzed.
12%.
Yeah. It was a good time though.
I remember when I was really young, I went to a party and I didn't want to I was like, I don't really feel like drinking.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything from anything.
Yeah.
So I go into the liquor store and I buy a box of wine. I was like, I'll buy wine.
No.
Girls drink wine all the time.
They're fine.
So I pound back. I'm at this party and I'm pounding back this box of wine. I'm holding it under my arm like a child.
Like a bagpipe.
And I'm drinking it right from the bag because of the bag inside and stuff. I just get mangled.
Yeah.
I'm in the bathroom and I'm just spinning and I'm like, oh my God. And I just I left. I walked home before my pants came off or anything like at the party or totally
before you shit yourself or something embarrassing.
Yeah, I just walked home. And
that was probably smart.
I was just spinning the whole time. Like I just had no idea. I can still drink wine now pretty hard.
That was the right call though. Fair play to you for having some judgment.
I try to not have any regrets the next day. I take it hard.
Me too. I cringe at myself all the time.
There's nothing worse than
horrible, isn't
wake
it?
up in the morning and you made an ass of yourself all drunk and shit. Like it's like, oh fuck, what did I do?
I think I was one beer away from starting to be a bit of a pain in the ass. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Or if I drink hard alcohol too, I'll go to jail. It's like if you give me on tequila, I'm probably going to jail. I'll do something fucked up. Shouldn't do this.
Yeah, I switched to whiskey once and it was the worst month of my life because I was starting fights and just being a piece of shit to everyone. And I was like, what's wrong with me? It's like you're drinking 40% alcohol all night. That's what's wrong with you.
Yeah, and I hate hangovers.
Yeah.
You just wasting it. When you get older,
it's
like, oh man, I can't just drink all night and then wake up and you're in bed all day.
I have no serotonin for about a week. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Yeah.
But
I'm okay. Don't worry. Yeah. So, but rugby happened.
Are you going to say the date?
Oh, yeah.
If you don't say the date, people are going to have no idea.
I think we'll lose a lot of...
where they are in the timeline of the world.
Yeah. It's the 24th of March.
The 24th of March.
A beautiful sunny Sunday. Yeah.
What is this? Episode 15?
I don't know.
I think
you said that as if you already knew. It sounds like you're setting yourself up to tell me.
Yeah, I think it is episode 15.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's episode 15.
Yeah, you're probably right.
15.
That's a lot, eh?
That's 15 weeks in a row.
We haven't missed one.
No.
We're reliable though, aren't we? We're pretty neurotic, reliable types. So
if you people at home like the podcast, share the shit out of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're doing that right here.
We don't say the like and subscribe thing.
Oh, okay. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Smash the like button.
Smash that like button and make sure you subscribe.
Yeah. Have we got Patreons?
No, we're not even close to Patreon money yet.
All right, whatever.
Getting that sweet Patreon money.
I'm quitting my job tomorrow, so
I don't know if we'd ever get into the Patreon thing.
Why not?
Oh, it's kind of weird.
I feel like I don't want to do any more than this either. I'm not making extra content for fuckers who pay me more money. I'm just not doing it.
It's a lot of work. The people that have the Patrons, that's their full-time job stuff.
Yeah, no,
that's
fuck
in the
that.
territory.
I've got no interest in that. Also, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We've probably got 9 listeners. So
got way more than that.
All right.
we're up there.
All right, into the high teens.
Actually, this month's been pretty high.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, like make sure you guys share the shit out of this podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So should we actually start talking about some rugby?
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking rugby podcast.
It is, yeah.
Let's do some. I think we should do some review and roundup of the Six Nations first.
Yeah, I'm excited to just go straight into talking about the Six Nations and how it's finished. The dust is settling. I've thought about it. I'm less depressed.
It's kind of sad.
I'm not.
I missed it.
I loved it, but
Was this consuming your life?
no, I did not enjoy seeing my team lose 5 times in a row. By the end, it was a great tournament, but by the end, I was just sick of watching Wales lose.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're emotionally invested
Yeah,
into a team.
you are, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
it's
I'm
part
just
of your heritage and your blood and shit like that.
yeah.
So
Annoying.
if we're gonna round this up, let's you want to get into the team? You want to do the team of the
Yeah, let's do our team of the tournament
per player?
per player.
Oh, look at that! You actually wrote notes down.
Why would I not?
I thought you were gonna get in. Can you turn that down?
Turn what down?
Your computer. It's doing all these kind of
Can you
things.
relax?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do in the team of the tournament.
Yeah, let's do the team of turn while your fucking computer's screaming
All
at
right.
us.
You're going to start with...
I'm gonna start
We'll
with
start with the forwards.
let's start with loose head.
No, well, that's 3.
No, fuck off.
Fuck's
I know
sake.
you're fucking with me. I know you're fucking with me.
All right, fair enough.
Loose head prop number 1. I'll start with number 1. Who did you have?
I went Uini Antonio.
That's a tight head.
Right, I went Cyril Bai.
Isn't that the hooker?
No,
Oh, wait, yeah,
no,
no,
he's
no.
a prop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just fucking me. I went Cyril. Look, I've got it in my notes. I am joking.
Oh yeah, look at that. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I've got it
Oh,
in my
you
notes.
chose him.
Yeah, I did. I thought my reasoning was France's pack was so dominant, and it was hard to pick a single French prop, to be honest. But I think he was just consistent, didn't give away a lot of penalties, and he was always there when France were fucking marmalizing scrums. So just a classic scrum killer, you know. Wasn't too flashy around the field, but I'm thinking of other props. There were some other props, and I'm thinking loosehead was a bit more of an argument for that, but I just went for the classic strong tight head prop, you know, winning scrums. How about you?
Oh, you know who I went with?
Tyke Furlong.
No. I went with Andrew Porter.
Right.
You're still drunk.
Maybe.
You still fucked up. He played like fucking like 120 minutes each game.
He was class,
He's
actually.
valuable.
He is valuable, isn't he? He was
Relied on a little bit too much.
class. Yeah.
Because you basically have a senior citizen coming in to like back him up.
Yeah.
Maybe that, but man, he's playing top rugby
Yeah.
for 70 minutes a game. Every game.
I've got buyer's remorse now. I think you're right. Yeah.
And he's hard as fuck.
He is a hard bastard,
The thing is, like, I'm worried, like, they're going to overcook him. Like, how many minutes he plays, even in the URC, like, his timeline is going to be pretty short. I'll be surprised if we see him, like, going, like, he'll probably get to Australia for the World Cup.
Yeah.
But I'll be surprised if he makes it after that.
Oh, he's going on a Lions tour.
For
he's
sure.
going on a Lions
for
tour.
sure.
Next
He's
year.
on one. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, probably first name on that sheet, actually, in that position. Yeah.
Who did you got for hooker?
Dan Sheehan.
Yeah, I did too.
Hard to argue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really hard to argue. Just because of even if you don't even look at him as a hooker, 5 tries in a tournament, like, that's impressive for a forward. So, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of chose himself. There's kind of like, I don't even think there's anyone close.
You know, with my biased Welsh glasses on, I actually thought Elliot D was really good because he was contrasted with Ryan Elias, who was having a shocker. I don't think Elliot D missed a line out, which for a Welsh line out is pretty impressive.
Oh, man, I should have looked at more stats between these guys, actually.
But no, Dan Sheehan was better, 100% better, and he was in a winning team. I just think Elliot D is worth a mention. I picked Sheehan, though, 100%.
I think Sheehan has the most tries for a forward in any Six Nations also.
I would not be surprised if that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
he broke. Yeah, he's, oh my gosh.
Do you know who else was good? It was Theo Dan for England.
Okay, yeah.
When he came on, he brought so much energy, and he was class. But he was a backup hooker, right? He wasn't the captain. And Jamie George was good, but I think when Theo Dan came on, I was like, if he was starting games, I might have picked him. You know, if he was played more rugby.
I think you can almost even argue to choose Jamie George too for hooker of the tournament too.
He was good,
solid,
and he was a good leader as well, right? He was a
I thought he
quality
did a
leader.
good job. At the end of the day, you know, people were kind of questioning it. I thought he did a decent job being captain.
Yeah, yeah.
He filled that role really well.
He did.
Okay, how about tight head prop?
Tadhg Furlong?
Did you?
Yeah.
You chose Tadhg? Why is that?
I think in the same sense that I had to give something to France for their scrum dominance, I had to recognise Ireland. I've got a bit of buyer's remorse now. I kind of wish I'd done this the other way around. I kind of wish I'd done Porter.
Because I think you feel jealous.
You did a bit, to be honest.
Points.
Yeah, you did a bit. But no, Tadhg Furlong was good. The thing is like he was good and he was solid, and like Ireland are always going off a solid forward platform, and he's a big part of that. He's not as good as he has been historically, but people are saying Ireland was struggling at the scrum. I didn't really feel that way in many. They had a couple scrum penalties against them. I never felt like they were getting pushed around though.
They've never had like they've always had what's the word I'm looking for? Not like a reliable scrum.
You're saying they have always had a reliable scrum.
They've always had ever since I've been watching them, they've always had a reliable scrum.
They have, yeah.
I've only seen them really dominate in the scrum a couple times.
I would say in the last 2 years, Porter and Furlong have been a part of a dominant Irish scrum, as opposed to, as you said, an adequate Irish scrum. They've really revolutionized that front row, right?
Mm-hmm. You're not going to expect. I never really expected Ireland when they're playing to get dominated at scrum time.
No.
They have struggled, but then they've shorted up in the game. I've seen them struggle a little bit in the scrum time.
Yeah.
Especially when they played South Africa the few times. They kind of got a little shook.
Yeah.
Especially when they swapped out when South Africa brought the bomb squad in.
Yeah.
But then within 20 minutes or 10 minutes, they
settled, didn't they?
They settled in.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting given that I think their backups are not nearly as good as their starters. Like Cian Healy and Finlay Bealham, good as they are.
I think Finlay Bealham is class.
He's good, but he's a bit of a step down, isn't he?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. The way he's playing, you can almost make some arguments. Sometimes I feel like he has better games than Furlong. Yeah. He is getting up in the age, though. They both are. I think they're both around the same age.
Late 20s.
Yeah. So thank God they have Ollie Jaeger that came in because he looks good too.
Well, he just got injured.
I know.
Yeah.
They have Munster has a bad issue with like signing guys and then
the media.
Yeah, taking some
barbecue
injuries.
accidents.
Yeah, barbecue burns.
Although RG Snyman was class on the weekend, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, against Ospreys, he was good.
Yeah, I didn't watch any URC this weekend.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We got a bit of a rugby hang-up. Well, we did watch rugby, though. Anyway, we'll keep going.
I chose Dan Cole.
I wrote it down and I crossed it out.
Really?
I did. Yeah, hang on. But I wrote him in the wrong position as well, but I did do that.
Yeah, Dan Cole for me was class this tournament.
He rolled back the years, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
his dark arts powers is great.
Yeah,
man, without him and Marler on that team, it could have been a very different Six Nations for them. They needed someone like that.
Those two don't go away, do they?
No.
Dan Cole and Joe Marler, they just do not stop, do they? Fair play to him. I don't know what they're doing, what they're feeding him.
Dan Cole, he's relentless on the field too.
Yeah.
He's in the mix and everything. I thought I was really impressed by him.
Yeah.
The Six Nations.
Yeah, me too. He was good.
I don't know when he's going to stop.
Well,
he looks so good. I was like, this guy could go. I'm like, could he go to Alliance Tour?
I think they won't take either of them because there's other experienced props.
You take Joe Marler, Dan Cole. They come on for Porter and Furlong.
That's a meaty.
That is a meaty.
Yeah, that is a meaty proppy situation.
Or you can have you can mix the two too. You can have Porter and Dan Cole's playing, and then they could switch off for Marler.
Joe Marler and Tadhg Furlong. Oh, that's nice.
You have a mix that those
that's
are
a prime rib buffet. That is
really good props there that can do some damage.
Like you said, though, a wee bit old. But that's that. Do you know what props are the one position where if they're playing well, who fucking cares?
Which
how old
is
they
super surprising for how physical they're demanding their position is, and they can keep going.
Well, they get better as they get older. That's
because of their skeletons calcify. There's no movement in their bones anymore, so they're just like these. As long
as they can hinge at the hip, they're good.
Rock hard people.
Yeah. They just oil up the hips before a game. Yeah.
Let's choose locks.
I went for an all Irish lock situation.
Oh.
Yeah. So I went, I'll tell you both of them.
Yep.
I went Tadhg Beirne and Joe McCarthy.
Ooh.
Yeah. About you?
I went with David Jenkins.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't even play lock a lot.
Yeah. And Beirne.
Tyke Byrne's hard to ignore.
He's I would say he's one of the best players in the world.
I would agree in his position. Yeah.
He is just...
Yeah, I felt that way for a long time. I feel the same way I feel about Justin Tipuric about this guy, right? Like, he's an undersung best player in the world. He is the best person in his position, and people forget about him. I'm like, how do you forget about this guy? He makes stuff happen in every single... He's like Quagga Smith as well for me, right? Like, Quagga Smith will come on, win 2 turnovers in the space of 10 minutes, and people still don't talk about him like he's one of the best in the world. Tyke Byrne just... He hasn't needed to change the game because Ireland have been dominant, but when he's on the field, like, he just makes stuff happen.
He rocks, he jackals,
yeah.
He scores tries.
He does
He's
everything.
great in the line out.
He is, yeah.
He's just, there's nothing wrong about it. He tackles.
He's a great maul defender, and he strips balls really well as well. You know, does a lot of good stuff.
In my eyes right now, he is the best rugby player in the world.
Rugby player? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Definitely up there. I know it's subjective.
Of course it is.
Like,
positionally, yeah. But yes.
And it's a big argument, but if I had to, like, if you asked me personally,
yeah,
I would probably put him down until someone convinced me of another player.
If we're saying best rugby player, I'd want someone a bit faster and more dynamic, but he definitely does a lot of technical forward-based stuff incredibly well, better than anyone else.
Because if I had to choose a lock or...
definitely the best lock in the world, in my
opinion. Or a loose forward.
Yeah.
Like, he's first on my team sheet out of anyone.
Yeah.
I want him above anyone else.
Imagine aliens invaded and they brought a team and we could make a world 15. I think Etzebeth and Tyke Byrne as locks. Like, they're immediately who I would go for, you know?
Yeah, I think those two you'd auto. They're auto. Yeah. I'm even like, you can even debate which one's better. Because they're both so good. You can go in a different debate about who's the better lock.
Yeah, you could.
Like, I don't know. Who would you think is better between the two?
Tyke Byrne. But Etzebeth is stronger, more powerful. But I'd still take Byrne because he does every other skillful forward thing, stripping, line out, more defense.
Tools.
The tools.
He's got more
his
tools.
Tool belt is immense.
I went with
David
Jenkins.
That's an interesting... Why... Tell me about that, because I'm trying to avoid
David
being
Jenkins
biased.
Was also a defensive machine.
Stats-wise, he was incredible.
Stats-wise, he was machine, and what he had to work with and how good he played.
Yeah, that's true. There's a couple of Welsh guys who their stats are incredible, and you think, considering they lost every single game, that makes it more impressive.
I don't think he missed a tackle in the Six Nations.
I know he tackled a fucking lot.
He has the second most tackles in Six Nations.
Who was number 1? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's Lamaro.
Right.
Yeah.
Who did I put him on my team? Maybe I did. I'm going to show you my notes to prove I'm not fudging things. But yeah.
But I was super impressed with David Jenkins. He played his heart out.
Yeah, he did.
And to lose every game and still go out there and give it 200%.
Yeah,
you're going to pick that guy in any team.
He's got heart. There's about 3 Welsh players who I just think played their fucking socks off and deserve more of a mention, but I don't want to seem biased though, because we didn't win a single game. So
who was your loose forwards?
Yeah, so I got Andy Christie at 6.
Okay, good.
I actually did have Michelle Lamaro at 7, and I crossed Tommy Raffel out and put Michelle Lamaro in, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And number 8 was Ben Earl, and that was probably the easiest pick of the whole team.
We went pretty similar.
Yeah,
because I picked Tommy Raffel.
Yeah.
And I picked Ben Earl.
Yeah.
And I picked Lamaro.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I thought mine was about left field. Because I thought Andy Christie was... Every time I watched him, I was just so impressed with him. But you might say there were more consistent 6s in the tournament, or 6s in teams that were winning a bit more, right? Like David Jenkins. Well, no, not David Jenkins. He didn't win a single game, but...
Tommy Raffel and his stealing and his jackling, he kept Wales in the game.
I think he was the most turnovers.
Imagine if he wasn't there.
It'd be
It would be like...
There's a couple of players like that.
More dire.
I just want for Raffel, for me to get that over Lamaro, he would need to have more of an attacking threat. Because a 7 for me needs to have more of an attacking threat, right? But yeah, no doubt, incredible jackler.
I just mixed them up. I just picked the best loose forwards.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And Ben Earl he's an impact player.
He's amazing.
He stepped he really made sure what he did. He made sure everyone knew who he was.
Yeah.
in the Six Nations. Like
Yeah.
if you're watching the Six Nations, like after
Yeah.
everyone knew who Ben Earl was.
Oh yeah.
When they were playing England, like he was dynamic.
He was a psychopath.
Yeah, he was a psychopath.
Just
he's
frothing
a
at the
psychopath.
mouth.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Ardy Surveyor's performance is
Yeah.
actually just powerful.
Yeah, and
you know?
ruthless
Yeah.
and yeah.
Just not giving up, real bulldog energy, you know?
I'm not willing to like compare them though. Like they're two different. Yeah.
That's happened before when people were talking about Tom Curry. He's the next Richie McCaw in the English media. Like he had a good season. Calm down. Like
Yeah,
and I haven't seen him
calm
seen.
down. Like, that's a big.
Yeah.
Those are big shoes to fill.
Exactly. Same with Ben Earl, class tournament, and he has been. English fans have been shouting for him to be picked for a long time, and yeah, they were right and Borthwick was wrong. But now he's right because he picked him, but he should have been there sooner. Makes you wonder how Zach Mercer would look in an England jersey, right? Like, because he's a similar player. Like, he's not your traditional just run straight at him. He's got a step on him.
Even having him as one of the Lucies,
yeah,
I thought would have been pretty big too.
And now England are starting to look more like an attacking team. If you had Zach Mercer and Ben Earl in your back row, like that's a pretty dynamic, attacking-minded back row.
Alfie Barbary too.
Oh yeah,
he's a good attacking.
Yeah, he's got that same power, hasn't he? Yeah. So
and Lamaro, let's talk about Lamaro.
Let's talk about Lamaro. Yeah, like I think
he's a hero.
Stats-wise, like I said, most tackles.
103 tackles.
In an Italian team where for the first time in my life I can say, wow, they defended well.
Mm-hmm.
And he was key to that, right?
Yeah.
So that's impressive for a start. A lot of turnovers. And it felt like he's fast and mobile, right? He is a true 7,
Just consistent every single game.
Yeah. Is he a 7 or am I talking shit?
No, he's a 7.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. That's the loose. Let's go to the backs here.
Yeah, you go first. I'm
for number 9.
Yeah, go 9 and tell me 9 and 10.
I picked for 9 and 10. I picked Jameson Kitson Park.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, he was just.
Yeah.
And then for 10, this was tough because I could have went with a lot of guys.
Yeah.
But I put Jack Crowley.
Fair enough.
I picked
solid tournament.
I picked Jack Crowley not because he was the best 10. I picked him because the shoes that he had to fill in that position was so immense, and he did it, and he felt like he didn't miss Johnny Sexton at all. And to do that, I thought was super impressive. And he was good. Every game he played good. There was some he started off shaky in a couple of games.
He was a bit nervous, wasn't he, at that France game?
But he grew into every game, and he was like you didn't miss Sexton at all.
No.
And I thought there was a lot of eyes on him. There was a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
Because everyone was comparing him to Sexton, and a lot of doubt probably.
Yeah.
But you did not notice Johnny Sexton was not there. They were almost sometimes people thought they were. I heard people say the team looked better without Sexton.
I've got something controversial to say about this. I don't think Sexton's impact on the Ireland team was as big as people make out, because him leaving, obviously he was an amazing player, right? No doubt. But I think Ireland, by the time he left, had such quality in every position that the idea that he was carrying that team or was, adding an extra 20% to it, I don't think that was true.
It was his leadership on they had the thing, but he corralled all the guys, and
he did, and he added speed to the game,
and he kept the unity between all the players.
Leadership
on the
might
field.
be the thing I'm not thinking about,
and that was because you notice a difference when he was on and when he was off the field in the last couple of years.
But I also felt like whenever Sexton had a bad game, Ireland would lose. Like if he had a tantrum, like they would lose, and it felt like a liability.
That was a big problem. Like, is he the team? Like if he's having a bad game, the whole team's having a bad game.
That's what it felt like sometimes, right?
And I think that since he's gone. And crowd, like the whole, I think a lot of players are actually kind of coming out of their shells, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But I think someone like Jamison Gibson Park now, one of Ireland's big strengths is just the speed of ball from the breakdown, right? They recycle so quickly and they have such a tempo in attack. And Johnny Sexton was important for that. He threw in a real quick loop play when he got the ball. But I also think Jamison Gibson Park has become the speed in the Ireland team now.
Yeah,
that recycling speed he gives them is what Sexton does, but he doesn't feel like as much of an ego as Sexton does.
Yeah, Gibson
right?
Park, he can package up that ball and ship it out like
quickly,
like lightning.
He's in there, isn't he? And I feel like Jack Crowley feels like a real solid cog in that team instead of the movie star in the team.
Yeah, they're really fortunate to have those two guys.
So I think, he's class. They're both good, but I think maybe Johnny Sexton's departure was a little bit overstated.
Who did you choose?
I've got buyer's remorse again now. I'm going to stick with my 9. I went Legaric.
Yeah.
Just because, similar to what you were talking about, like Dupont's got some big shoes to fill. And I think France were a bit wobbly at 9. And then when Legaric started playing, it felt like who's Dupont because he has such an impact on games, but they found their attacking flair again when he was there because he added pace and rhythm to the game.
Yeah, when they got him and Ramos working together. Yeah, they were some good operators, those two.
And I actually put Ramos as my 10, and that is controversial even by my own standards, I think, because he's not very good defensively at times.
No, he can be a little shocking, especially because he's a fullback.
Yeah,
too.
that's right. And he's not even a real 10, is he? But when he was playing well, and like you said, that partnership with Legaric, and Ramos is a fucking Iceman as well. Like he will just nail kicks wherever you need him to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he does open up defenses. So that little combo for me in the latter stage of the tournament was really impressive.
I thought another player too that we both could have picked. Probably you'll probably agree with me with George Ford.
Yeah. I nearly put George Ford. I felt like this wasn't such a strong tournament for 10s, to be honest.
It wasn't a strong tournament for scrum halves either.
No, or fullbacks, which I'm going to talk about as well.
Yes, that's true too.
So yeah, it's been difficult.
You want to go with the centers?
Centers, yeah. I put 12. I put Ollie Lawrence.
Oh, okay.
And then I had Ignacio Brex at 13. Everyone's on this Italian center partnership hype train. Mm-hmm. It's impressive.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit cynical about it.
I put both the Italian centers.
Knew you would. Fucking basic.
I put Menincello and Brex.
They were
because
good.
Everything that came good from that team,
it did come from them.
Came from those two fuckers. Even though Brex had the most missed tackles in the 6 stage.
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah.
Actually, and I want to say something about Italy. They have been impressive, and they've made the tournament better by being good this tournament. But I don't like this narrative that this has been slowly building. They were shite in the World Cup, right? They were pretty shite. They've been shite for years, and yeah, they've had an amazing tournament. But I need to see them do it twice to believe. It looks like now they've got the players to do it. They've definitely got the defense, the attack, and they can stay in a game for 80 minutes. So as long as those two centers don't get injured, the future's bright. But imagine one of them gets injured. Imagine Lamaro gets injured, right? Like, who's next?
I don't know. So, their under 20s looks really. I think they're probably gonna start digging in those under 20s pretty soon too.
Yeah, and Benetton are going well. So
yeah,
anyway, I still like it a lot. I'm just saying I'm not quite on the hype train.
Because without either of those two, I think those games would have been a lot different.
Yeah,
they created a lot of opportunities in those games.
Yeah,
and even though Brex missed a bunch of tackles too, the most tackles in the Six Nations, he's also like top. I think he's like 15th or 16th for most tackles.
Yeah,
so.
Well, that's 13 is a hard position to defend as well.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I played 13, and it's horrible because people are running at you. They got a lot of space, right, to get some speed up. But no, I was really impressed by him. That's why I put him there. And I put Ollie Lawrence there because when England feel like they're having a bit of a centre identity crisis, and I feel like when he played and against Ireland, he was class, and he was class against France as well.
Unfortunately,
yeah. Unfortunately for Ireland, yeah.
He even had a good game in France. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So yeah, he's been class. So yeah, wings, fullbacks.
Yeah, let's do the back three. I went with James Lowe.
Yeah.
And Damien Penaud.
Yeah.
And I went with Win It.
Me too. Exactly the same.
You went with exactly the same?
Exactly the same. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to pick Win It.
No, because we had to talk about this the other day. I was saying this was not a tournament for fullbacks. It was hard to... Because it wasn't like they were bad fullbacks. Like, Hugo Keenan was great. He just didn't play enough rugby for me. I think, like, both Stewart and more so Furbank had a good tournament, but they didn't play enough games. Basically, every team didn't consistently stick with the same fullback except Wales.
Yeah.
Cameron Winnett, I want to see him attack more, but those stats don't lie, right?
No.
Carries, unreal. Mm-hmm. Meters made, unreal. Like for a kid who's barely played for Cardiff,
he's going to be a star in the future.
Yeah, if he can unlock a bit more attacking threat, then yeah, he's going to be class.
He's also got to grow into his body a little bit more.
He looks like an anemic child, doesn't
he? Does. His face looks, he's got that pale, sick boy face.
He's a little Victorian
like he's just
anemic
been eating
boy.
potatoes in a fucking dark barn.
Yeah, he probably has. That was his childhood.
Yeah, he loves to look anemic.
Yeah.
It's like, man, someone should check this guy's iron. Like,
yeah, totally.
I went with James Lowe because like every game he was great.
Again, the stats don't lie, do they?
Yeah, no, they don't lie. He was all over the stats, and Penaud is like fucking
greased up wild pig man going for it. Yeah,
he's
class.
fucking amazing.
He's untouchable, isn't he?
He might even
how do you tackle that guy?
even be the best, one of the best players.
Yeah, well, people say that. People say he's the best player in the world. Yeah,
like right now, that always changes, like, you know, whatever tournament's going on and stuff. But right now, like, him and Byrne. Yeah, they're definitely up there.
I wish we could do a Lions team that included France, because that would be silly, wouldn't it? Like,
that'd be too powerful for the world.
We'd break the world.
It'd be too powerful.
Yeah, it would.
Imagine having that dynamic.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
That would be mental. I think one thing I want to mention, though, is Van der Merwe, because me and you were arguing about who's better, Lowe or Van der Merwe, and I was trolling you a bit just because Van der Merwe had more tries. He fell away in the last 2 games, though, I feel.
He's just one of those guys that if he doesn't, like, you have to create things for him, kind of. Like, he has to get, like, the luck of the ball, or you have to get the ball to him.
In space.
Yeah. Like, he's dangerous as fuck.
He is.
But, yeah, like, I just always kind of made that argument about him, that he's just, like, not... when you compare him to someone like Lowe or Pinot...
Not consistent.
Like those guys go out and create things.
They do.
And they work fucking hard around the field.
They're entrepreneurs.
I'm not going to say that Van der Merwe's lazy or anything, but...
No, he's not.
Yeah,
he's more of a classic winger, isn't he? Stand there, wait for the ball in space.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when he does get it, it's like, holy shit, look at this guy.
Yeah. If he gets the ball, you're fucked. Especially if he has any kind of space.
Oh, yeah.
He's taking some field with him.
That's right.
Yeah, he's gaining some ground.
It feels like he's fast and strong, but I feel like Pinot he's fast and strong and smart.
Mm-hmm.
And slippery. And greased up.
Yeah, they must grease him up.
Oh, 100%. You can't tackle him. People just slide off him. Like,
he's definitely, like, before he walks out there, they're just, like, slathering him with fucking grease.
It's like a ritual, mate. Everyone has a turn, like, rubbing some lard on his knees. Like,
because he's a slippery motherfucker.
Then they slap him on the ass. Go get him, Pinot.
Who was your player of the tournament?
Okay. I'm going to say, because we're going to do player of the tournament and breakout player as well, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you both at once so I can give you a little reasoning for it, all right?
Okay.
So I put my player of the tournament. I actually put Ben Earl.
Oh, okay.
And I can already hear you saying fuck off or something. But I wanted to have Joe McCarthy in there as well. So I put him as my breakout player. And let me explain. Ben Earl just felt like the difference between England looking like they didn't know what they were doing and them being a dynamic attacking threat in the last 2 games. Like, he, for me, was the sole difference.
Yeah.
And he was a real... Not fine, because he's been around for a while, just not picked in the England team. But it's like, finally you've picked him, right? The prodigal son has arrived, and England feel like a changed man with him there. But then I was thinking about Joe McCarthy as well, and he was so good. And to keep... Ireland have good depth at lock, right? They really do.
Yeah.
And for a guy who's young to come into the squad and just be like, I'm not going anywhere now. Like, I'm your first choice pick every time now.
He took
just
that position
grabbed
from a lot of senior guys too.
Exactly. He just whipped it right from out. He's not going. As long as he doesn't get injured, like, that's his fucking shirt now, right? Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like they're both similar vibes to me, but I feel like Ben Earl's been around a bit longer in terms of, you know, playing good at club level, for him not to be a breakout player. But they both impressed me a lot. So that's what I did.
Wow, you kind of went out there. I wasn't expecting those two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who'd you go with?
I went with now. I have buyer's remorse. I have buyer's remorse now. I went with player of the Six Nations. I went with Pinot. He just topped all the charts in the stats.
Yeah.
Like, he has the most offloads, defenders beaten, try assists, line breaks. Like, he's just topping the charts and everything. Like, this guy was the player of the tournament.
He was class. Yeah. But, you know, France were a wee bit shit at the start, though, weren't they? So
yeah, but even when they were shit, he was still creating things.
Yeah, that's true.
Even when, like, the whole system was just collapsing around him.
Yeah.
You know, he was trying.
One guy without a World Cup hangover anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought he was just immense.
Yeah.
Every time he played.
Yeah, fair enough.
Breakout player of the Six Nations, I went with Cameron Winnett.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He was just no one expected anything of him.
No, there was no pressure at all.
And like this guy, when I first saw him walk on the field, I was like, he's fucked.
Yeah.
I saw this kid. He walked out. He had his peanut butter and jam sandwich. He's eating it.
Little Thomas the Tank lunchbox.
Yeah, a little bit of jam on his cheek, and I'm just like, this kid is fucked.
On socks.
And he played his heart out. Oh man,
he didn't drop a ball. I mean, he did drop one ball that Sam Costello tried to steal out of his arms. You know, like, except for that, like, he was just solid, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was solid.
He was very impressive, and he was that if he wasn't on that team, there was a few players in that Welsh team. If they weren't there, it would have been different. But he really held that. Man, I couldn't think of any. I guess there's like really no one to challenge him for fullback. Maybe Lloyd.
Yeah, hard to say.
But when it was class,
he was
every
good,
game. He you could easily choose Joe McCarthy.
Yeah.
Too, but fuck, win it.
Yeah. I'm glad you're repping the Welsh because I wasn't.
I repped a lot of Welsh actually today.
Yeah, considering we lost every game. That's kind of you.
Did you choose coach of the tournament?
I did.
Who did you choose?
Gonzalo Quesada.
I chose the same thing too.
And I've got some thoughts about this as well because I'm going back to my slightly cynical thoughts about Italy where
you're just mad because you fucking lost.
No, genuinely not. Like I'm really genuinely happy they won that because they've made the tournament interesting for me and I want to watch Italian games. And all of a sudden I know 5 or 6 Italian players' names more than I usually do, right? Because before it was like I know Paolo Garbisi, I know Ange Capozzo, I know a couple more, but now it's like I know most of the team.
You do. That's the different. You know, like how we were talking when we first started the podcast. And Italy would come up. We'd
barely talk about it, would we?
We didn't know the players.
We were dismissive about them 6 months ago. It's like, who fucking cares?
And now these guys are like in our mouths.
Yeah, and they're exciting to talk about, right? So no, I'm not. Yeah, it was sad to lose to them, but I'm genuinely happy. And to be honest, Wales needed that. We need to hit rock bottom so our fucking union wake up.
Yeah, Gonzalo.
But he was. He
filled us with Italians. Filled our brains and minds.
You know, like what he's done immediately is I've thought this for a while. Is like what Argentina have is what Italy should have and probably aspire to have, right? You know, less resources than other unions, not a traditional rugby country. Well, I guess Argentina is, but, you know, not so many professional rugby players and turning that into more than the sum of its parts. And Italy are doing that under an Argentinian coach, which I don't think is a coincidence.
I read some things from Garbisi and they asked him what's the difference between him and Kieran Crowley there.
Yeah.
And he said that Quesada is... like Crowley would give them a lot more freedom, let them kind of do whatever they wanted more.
Yeah.
And Gonzalo is like
Gonzalo.
more, yeah, Gonzalo is like more controlling.
Yeah.
He's more
disciplined. Which is evident,
and it's like what that team needed.
Yeah. 100%.
Right?
Yeah,
He's like, look, you guys are doing this.
Yeah.
And we're failing here.
Yeah.
We need to be doing this, and this is how we're going to play. This is the system. So he's kind of playing more of a structured game for them.
I wonder if there's something to do with having a closer cultural connection, because for too long, Italy have had English-speaking Southern Hemisphere coaches, and there must be some kind of cultural disconnect there. Now there's someone who's like the Latino fires here.
Wasn't our last coach before Crowley, he was an Irish guy?
Yeah, I think so. What was he called?
I forget.
But do you know what I mean? Like what I'm getting at?
Yes,
like it's a bunch of like white European. Well, I know Italy's in Europe and they're white and stuff, but you know what I mean? Like they've got the Latina Fuego coming in now. You know, like that's what they needed, I think. And someone who is not just, you know, a second-rate Italian coach who's stepped up. It's like this is an established world coach from Argentina, right?
Yeah.
They have pedigree. He's been in the trenches, duking it out with.
He used to coach. Gonzalo used to coach the
Juarez. Oh, the Jaguares.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Jaguars.
The Jaguars when they were in Super Rugby there and brought them to the final.
Mate, and they put up a fight against the Crusaders.
I'm kind of surprised with when you look at his resume too, that he wasn't, he might have been, I don't know this, but he wasn't in the Pumas setup at all. Or being talked about as the head coach. I don't know. Or maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, it's checking now, isn't it?
When I checked it, I didn't see anything Pumas related.
Yeah.
In the thing, so I was kind of surprised about that. So maybe like a little bit of a slip up from the Pumas there, or
maybe they can't afford him. Maybe, but this is great for Italy. This is exactly what they needed. And like I said, as much as you were talking about Squidge gaslighting us, like Italy are going to be good one day, and yeah, he was right. But I don't feel he was right in the way that he meant. They weren't slowly building. They were shit 6 months ago, right? They really were.
Yeah,
they were anonymous.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden they're good. But let's not kid ourselves. They won 2.5 games. Right, it's not the best tournament by anyone's standards.
Yeah, but they could have they
could have won 3.
They could have won 3, and if they would have played that game again against England, now I guess like because England were kind of all shaky, and
I don't think that. I think if they played that again and England got a chance to play again, based on England would win again, they would. But so you can't do those hypotheticals
They could have beat England. I'm just saying that.
They could have.
They kind of got gassed out by England.
Yeah.
And they should have beat France.
Yeah.
If there wasn't that fuckery going on.
Yeah.
They almost had 4 games this tournament.
They almost did. But what I'm saying is, hypotheticals aside, I don't think they serve us too well. If they can back that up next Six Nations, then I'll believe. But I'm really happy with what's happening.
If they can
now
even
I
back
want
it
to
up
watch
in the
them.
summer with their summer games.
Totally.
And,
yeah, they've got to back it up now. There's pressure on them to perform now, right? Where there never was that much before.
I think there's some belief going on there too, though.
They seem more confident all of a sudden, don't they? Yeah.
If they can take a big scalp in the next year, too, like
because they've taken scalps before, but it always felt like when teams were on the lower ebb. When they beat Wales last, this tournament and a couple of years ago, felt like that's when we were shit.
Also, when
they beat South Africa, they were shit.
In Australia too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of all over the fucking place.
Yeah, totally. So, but to beat a Scotland this is the best Scottish team anyone's ever seen, supposedly, that's a hell of a win. To beat Wales in Cardiff, not the best Welsh team, but in Cardiff is a big deal, right? And yeah, I think like that's that France game, we can kind of ignore it and say, should have won that.
And who was your dream, like who was your darling team of the tournament?
It would have to be Italy.
Yeah, it
would
was.
have to be Italy for all the shit we've just said.
They made the Six Nations exciting.
Made Six Nations great.
They kind of healed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, you'd always have that dud game.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh, Italy's playing. Okay, I'm not even going to watch it.
It's a bye-week game.
You wouldn't even watch it.
No, I wouldn't.
You're like, oh, especially like for us that have to get up early to watch games.
I wouldn't even watch the highlights, to be honest.
No, because you already knew the outcome.
Yeah.
Now, they're like, oh, they're a team. They're coming.
Yeah. Good. It's awesome.
And you want to watch them, even if they don't become like this, like a really good team. To kind of stay where they are.
Yeah.
You're going to watch them regardless because they might pull an upset.
Yeah.
And you want to watch that.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
And I know the player names now.
Yeah, you know the player names now.
Yeah, things have changed overnight. It's great.
Yeah. Game of the tournament.
Game of the tournament. Can you go first? Because I've got two in my head and I want to see what you think.
I picked fucking England France.
No, me, yeah.
That game was a fucking rock show.
It was just a such, and I say that because I didn't really have a horse in that race. I just enjoyed watching a fuck of a game.
It was good rugby.
Yeah.
There was a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the back and forth.
Yeah.
And you had two teams that had really shaky, like they both kind of had similar Six Nations.
They did.
Really shaky starts.
Yeah.
And grew into the tournament. They were trying to figure out what the fuck they were and what they were doing. Yeah. And they both kind of found that right at the end.
Yeah.
And that
just
was a game.
I wish we could see Ireland, England, France play each other again now. You know, when we with all the learnings. Because the other game I was thinking about was the Ireland-England game. But it didn't feel the same. Like you've said rightfully, Ireland were kind of in control of that game more than people are letting on, right? Because the narrative seemed to be, wow, England are amazing. They dominate. They didn't. Like Ireland were winning for most of that game, right? And it was close, but it wasn't the back and forth of that England-France game.
No.
So yeah, I will go England-France for my favorite game.
What was the other the game you're thinking of?
That one, England-Ireland.
And you said you had two games in your mind?
Yeah, England-France and England-Ireland.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Those two?
Those two were I was tossing up in my head.
Think about the England-Ireland game. It was messy. Like, there was a lot of mess in that game.
I enjoyed it, though, because it changed the narrative of the whole tournament.
That, you know what game I thought was better than that one was Wales-England.
Wales-England, really?
Oh, man. Wales kind of got robbed at the last few minutes of that game too.
Yeah,
right?
We're used to that.
They almost won that game.
Yeah.
And you can argue that they should have won that game.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as exciting.
Wasn't there? I can't remember what the call was, but there was some shitty call at the end of that game.
Yeah, there was Rio Dyer getting pushed into touch in the air, but we'd already lost that game. Yeah. I think.
No, there was room. There was hope. I had hope.
Yeah, you did. You did.
And I think that concludes the 2024 Six Nations.
Yeah. Yeah, next year.
Off our backs.
Have you put your decorations away yet?
No, I haven't.
No, we'll leave them up till April, eh?
Yeah.
Remind us the
What do you
good
think the rest of the year is going to turn out for these teams?
Good question. I think England in New Zealand is what I'm most no, that's bullshit. I'm most excited for Ireland, South Africa, because
I'm like kind of almost equally excited for both those.
Those are my two favorite things that are going to happen. I'm so excited to see the chess match of mindfuckery between Rassie and Andy Farrell.
Oh,
like
yeah,
he's going to have like laser pens onto the field, and he's going to have going to have like a drone that's dropping supplies onto the scrum or something weird.
He's going to like have the water guys like in like disguises.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going to have like grass ghillie suits on and appear at the turf or some mad shit. There's going to be some kind of fuckery. So yeah, I'm excited for that not because I'm buying into this who's the best team in the world thing. I couldn't care less. I think it's just such a titanic. It's going to be.
It is it's Clash of the Titans.
It's Clash of the Titans,
yeah,
right?
It is Clash of the Titans right there.
It's the South Africa Bowl. Yeah,
I can't wait for that. I think like the England New Zealand game too is going to be really good because you don't know like what is coming out of New Zealand.
That's right.
Because they could.
That's right.
Like they could like fucking like England could show up, that whistle could blow, and then New Zealand can just fucking eat them alive.
Yeah.
Or lose.
Yeah. Or
like it could be a tight. Yeah, I have fucking no idea.
Yeah, because South Africa, Ireland, right? It's the Clash of the Titans. We both know what weapons they're coming with. England, New Zealand's really exciting for me because you've got New Zealand with Scott Robertson on one hand, but you've also got New Zealand with a bit of a shaky tournament, and their top team's not performing, and their stadium's not looking that full. So they're a real unknown for me. They could either be incredible or maybe undercooked. And England have discovered this new attacking identity in the space of 2 games. Is it a flash in the pan? Like, that's a really cool narrative.
Yeah.
You know?
If you had to put money on it, though, like the way things are developing there, though.
I'd go New Zealand. I'd put money on New Zealand winning.
Like, I think they're just it's going to be a bloodbath.
I think they'll win both games.
Borthwick's just going to look stunned. Yeah, we didn't have enough time.
Yeah. We got no time to prepare.
Yeah, we didn't have enough time. We could have won. We didn't lose. We just ran out of time.
Yeah.
We ran out of time. We ran out of days.
We didn't lose that game. Yes, you did. I saw the scoreline.
Yeah.
You twat.
I'm pretty sure you lost that game. We just ran out of time. Fuck.
Shut up. No, I'm excited for it though. England could surprise people. I feel like if they lean into this sort of attacking game plan that they've got going on, then they could surprise people. Because when England beat New Zealand in the 2019 World Cup semi-final, that's still one of my favorite games of all time, just because like the power they imposed on New Zealand for that first 10 minutes was electric.
Yeah, you just
like,
never
wow.
seen New Zealand so shell-shocked like that.
What?
They were just like
Tuolangi was on fire.
Yeah.
Right? It was such a good game. And like if they can do that, if they can like summon the emotional energy to do that, like wow.
They might be able to shock them in the first game.
Yeah.
Like come out the gates just firing hard.
Yeah.
They might be able to do that, but like they're only playing 2 games against each other. So like New Zealand can cope with that. But they might get shell shocked. There might be a bit of surprise, but I don't know.
A lot of what ifs though, right? That's what I'm excited about. And then the Wish.com tournament between Wales and Australia, also excited for it.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's kind of an exciting one too.
The battle of the dumpster fires.
Yeah, because that's gonna put now I'm forgetting his name.
Joe Schmidt.
Yeah. in he's got to put his team together, and the Australians are playing a lot better now.
They do look better. Brumby's looking good.
Yeah.
Western Force just won a game yesterday.
Yeah.
So, things are right.
It was, yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. That's another one of unknowns because I think Wales have, our narrative right now is we've got the players. They just need experience and time. It's like, you've had 5 games of time now. We better win something. And I think Australia are just such an unknown, right? I don't even know what the starting 15 would look like. I haven't got a clue.
I'm kind of excited to see who's going to make it in there too.
Yeah.
What Joe Schmidt's going to bring.
Does Reece Hodges still play?
I don't even
know.
Yeah.
Don't even know.
All right.
Okay.
What other we got on the menu here? Do you want to talk about some drama, some rivalry here? The new rugby rivalry.
Fuck's sake. Yeah. So
Georgia,
we're talking
Wales.
about I had some thoughts about this. So Georgia, like a mid-90s WWF wrestler, called us out. I'm calling you out, Wales. It just felt so... I understand, right? I understand Georgia's need for exposure on one hand, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And also this looks like a great PR move because everyone's like, fuck yeah. But on the other hand, I was like, the timing is kind of a bit...
It's perfect.
It's kind of immoral and shitty. It's like if someone got beat the shit out of in a bar and they're in a hospital in a coma and someone else is like, quick, get him while he's down. Let's go, boys. Like, and runs in with baseball bats and beats this unconscious dude. It's like, you called us out at our lowest ebb. That's kind of shitty, So
I think it was great.
It's dramatic.
I think it was perfect.
If you're not Welsh, you're probably like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, because like Wales is in a position where they might be beatable to Georgia, and they are down.
It's like a lion preying on the weakest animal in the herd, isn't it?
And Georgia, like it's perfect because it's the what's the word I'm looking for? It's the Welsh stature, like it's the pedigree of what they are and what they've been, right? Is perfect because if you can call them out, get a game, and beat them, right? That's the perfect team to call out right now.
And I feel like
because they're not calling out Italy.
No.
You guys think you're good now?
Or
Come
Scotland, who
Scotland.
literally never won the Six Nations, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like
they want someone because they're like, yeah, we beat these guys. They have like 4 Grand Slams and blah 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
That's what they want. They're after the record. They're after the history of that team that's now like doing shitty.
Yeah.
So that's what they're really after. Yeah, because they ain't calling out Italy.
No.
They ain't calling out Scotland.
No, or anyone else.
No.
Right?
It's like, yeah, we want to take on Ireland.
Yeah.
Good luck with that question.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it just all feels a bit suspect, and it feels a bit ungentlemanly to do that given our current state, right? There's teams in that tournament who've never won it, and we've won it many times historically, which I understand is why they're doing it. They're after that pedigree, as you said. They're after that scalp. But it's like if they'd have done that 6 months down the line, I'd have been a bit more like, oh, that's cool, let's do that. But it's like immediately after the tournament, after we've been handed our ass in most of those games, like, come on.
Ideally, I would like to expand the Six Nations.
Yeah.
But in reality, there's not enough time.
It's too
many games.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. Like right now, the Six Nations is the Six Nations, and it's going to stay the Six Nations.
Even if we didn't talk about the fact that they're all part owners of the tournament, and financially speaking, it would be suicidal, adding another game to it, including another team, just totally shits on all this talk about player welfare and safety as well. It's like, cannot have another game in the international window. It's jam-packed, right? These players are fucking exhausted. Leave them alone.
It's just there's not enough time.
There's not enough time, right? And I wouldn't mind actually relegation and promotion, but the unions involved wouldn't do it. It's financial suicide.
The only thing I can think of is like, let's say you expanded the Six Nations and you added like Georgia.
Yeah.
Let's say you even added Georgia and South Africa.
Right.
Now you get 8 nations.
Okay.
You couldn't do it in one go.
No.
It would have to be like there's the Six Nations, and then in the summer you'd play the other fixtures.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
There's not enough time.
Yeah.
It's too many games.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and it's their own tournament. And you know what? Like Georgia has their own tournament.
They do.
And there's some big countries in that tournament.
And I felt like, who is it? Richard Cockrell is that in charge of Georgia? I felt like him saying we're too good for this tournament.
They might be.
They are too good for that tournament. They win it every time, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that is, if you don't want to be in it to encourage the growth of these other teams around you, and you just want out, you're as bad as those Six Nations teams who are snobbishly going, we don't need to play you.
They
right?
have an opportunity to build something where it could even be like a rival thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They have the countries, the population, they have the countries with the money too in that tournament to like build something big where we can be like, oh, because what's it called? The European Championship or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. They could be like, oh, we're better than the Six Nations, blah, 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 right? Because like, they're packing stadiums, they're having these massive games.
Yeah.
Right. So if they built that product up, right, they wouldn't even need the Six Nations.
No.
Right? And you'd have fans watching both.
Yeah.
And you'd have fans engaging and talk about, oh, yeah, maybe they should have a one-off game of champion versus champion.
Which
right?
which I think would be cool.
Yeah.
And, just to reiterate, I do think relegation in the Six Nations would be a good thing. Like, I really do. But they just wouldn't. It's like turkeys voting for Christmas, right? The Six Nations teams would never do it. But if Wales got relegated, went to the European Championship, played a game in Germany or something, and they brought 20,000 Welsh fans with them, immediately, overnight, the profile of rugby is raised in Europe. It would be an amazing thing, purely for the number of fans that travel and bring a financial lift to those countries.
It'd be financially devastating for Wales, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would never happen. I would say it would be great for European rugby, terrible for that nation that got relegated, right? For the prestige. But like I'm saying, it's like Italy have lost this, and Scotland have lost it 4 or 5 times since Wales have last got a wooden spoon, 20 years ago. And it would be devastating for both of those teams if they had been relegated at any point.
It's never going to... That tournament is what it is right now.
Yeah.
It's going to stay that way.
Of course it is. And like the idea that this is some meritocratic system, it's never been that. It's a prestige tournament. It's just a standalone tournament for these 6 teams to get together once a year and have a good old time. Like I told you, it's a rugby festival, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not a league. It's not about merit. It's about having a good time with rugby.
Yeah.
And if you want a piece of that pie, fuck. Well, you're not. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like
You already got a pie.
yeah,
make-
Go make your own fucking pie,
Make
right?
that pie good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop calling out a crippled, comatose victim. You know, but we're
Yeah.
calling you out. Like,
Because I would like to have all those countries in one tournament. Like I like to have the Six Nations as a big thing, but in
Yeah.
the reality of things,
yeah.
it'd be financially devastating for any team that got relegated.
And they've got full
And
control
it's
over it.
too
They
many
just wouldn't
games.
do it.
When you think about player welfare and stuff, it's
Yeah.
too much.
No.
Yeah.
No, neither situation is going to happen. So you're totally right. Georgia, if you think you're too good for that tournament, do what you can to build it up yourselves, right? You know, they haven't really got a professional teams in Europe, so they've got the Black Lion, but they need to build that up more first, right? It takes a long time and it takes a lot of money.
So this weekend, for the past few weeks,
Yeah.
we've been hyping up some Super Rugby because
Yeah.
it's been looking fucking like very competitive.
Yeah.
So we're looking at these scores.
So we went
We're
and-
watching highlights.
Yeah.
And we're like, fuck, this league is picking up.
They've taught my boy Reece Patchell to offload.
And
I've
then
gotta
we
watch
saw
it.
there was finally some games on that were
Yeah.
on at a decent time for us to watch.
Friday night, we got a kebab and some beers.
Yeah, we did. We got Friday night lights going, and
Yeah.
we sat down and we watched some Super Rugby. And what
the
fuck did we fucking watch?
Jesus.
Oh,
I think we've been gaslit. We've been
shit.
gaslit.
I was like, what the fuck is?
Yeah. So we watched Drua and Waratahs, right?
Which was the fucking most wild chaos
Sweaty knock-on fest.
I was like, it was like the Wild West of rugby.
It
Like,
was.
like,
The ref was just like ignoring murders on the field.
yeah,
and things
the
like,
ref was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And the players are just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And
Can you please put your knife away, sir? Like it was
man,
fucking
like,
wild.
It was almost like anything goes.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, what a fucking.
It was funny, wasn't it?
It was comical.
It was
Like,
comical. Yeah.
Some of the tackling was just fucking brutal. Like
It
guys
was.
are just like fucking like nah,
Yeah.
whatever. Like
Yeah.
like not getting in front of the players, like just grabbing guys their arms and
Yeah.
guys sliding off. Miss
Yeah.
that fucking drop kick from the Waratahs.
The last 10 minutes was particularly hysterical, wasn't it?
That drop kick from the Drua too. I swear to God, it wasn't a drop kick. He
The
just
ball did
fucking,
not touch the ground. He just open hand toe punted it through the post.
I swear to God, and the ref was just like, "Fuck it,
yeah,
we've been here
do you know,
for."
I'm tired." And
Yeah.
it went into extra time. We were sat there and they were like, "Why are they still playing?
Yeah,
Why are
'cause
they
we
still
were
playing?"
screaming.
And then we look up and it's extra time. What
Yeah.
the fuck? Like,
We're just like fucking looking at it. And like the amount of penalties that like the Drua kept piling up, and the
Yeah.
ref's like, "You don't want more time," and there's just
I
nothing.
might even think about getting a yellow card soon if you
Yeah.
keep doing this.
Like the first, as soon as the first play too, there was like this blatant high tackle. Nothing. Like, hey, play on, and you're just like, what the fuck?
it was mental, wasn't it?
It was a disaster of a game.
It was mental. It looked boiling as well. It looked
Yeah.
boiling and sweaty. When it was an extra time, everyone was just, their shirts were just clinging to them with sweat. They looked knackered.
Yeah, the extra time thing was weird.
Oh, that was miserable.
I was just like, hey,
Yeah.
like give these guys a break. Just
yeah,
like
they look fucked.
yeah, they're already dead.
And
You
there
know?
were like these Australian ginger guys just absolutely dying in that heat.
that skin, they're like white
Yeah.
skin's just burning up.
Oh, mate. That was
Yeah.
wild. But, you know, if we're talking about it more objectively, right? Drua, they're all absolute monster humans, right? They're all massive dudes. And they had this really healthy lead. And I thought, like, oh, this is going to be a good win at home in front of a Fijian crowd. Like, fair play to them. And then, for no particular reason, they were like, well, we can't be fucked with this winning bollocks. And just like, Waratahs just like came back by about 20 points. Like, and I was like,
Yeah.
how do you not defend that lead?
They started piling up the points.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck.
How the fuck did they do that? Like,
The fitness, like they were like, if you
it
look,
was probably fitness.
both those teams looked like they were dying on that field.
Oh, it looked miserable, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the contrast. The most amazing thing too is like you finish watching that game and you're like, holy shit, like
Yeah.
this is Super Rugby.
So we sat there shell shocked going, what
Yeah.
was that? And then we tune into Highlanders
Then-
Chiefs, didn't we?
Yeah. And then that game, the quality picked up in the rugby was like,
That was very high quality rugby, to be
yeah,
fair.
it like picked up significantly.
It did.
You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, this is why Kiwis are good at rugby, right? Because, you know, you could just see the set moves. Everything was well rehearsed, crisp, clean passing, really good connection between the backs, right? Damien McKenzie was, you know, tearing it up. Like, so we enjoyed what was disappointing for me about that was the size of the crowd a little bit, you know? And don't get me wrong, I'm a Welshman. I know what a small crowd looks like. But for that to be like, you know, the national sport, everyone loves it. I'm surprised they can't get the full stadium there.
I thought it was like what the camera was facing the more empty side of the stadium because then when they went in and they showed the other half of the stadium. It looked pretty full on that
I mean,
side.
there's definitely thousands of people there.
Yeah.
But when I watch
I know they
rugby
do have
league in
attendance.
Australia, Aussie rules in Australia, which I know is a much bigger, more populated country, but Aussies pack out a stadium for their sports, and it just feels like rugby union in New Zealand and much more so in Australia just isn't generating that passion in the crowd that I was hoping to see, So maybe someone from New Zealand can
They got to be
educate me a
really
wee bit.
up. Like, yeah, it did look a little bit like the stands looked a little bit empty, and I think it might have been more of a camera work kind of thing.
It just felt like for the best rugby country in the world historically, a kind of half-empty stadium lacking passion felt like out of place. It felt like a quiet atmosphere, right?
I felt, yeah. See, for me too, like some people a lot of people like watching games at home.
Yeah, and I do.
Like,
I do.
We have an NHL team here.
Yeah.
I watch NHL.
Yeah.
I would rather sit at home
Yeah.
than and watch the game
Every day.
with some friends and drink a pint home.
Yeah.
Than go to a game. It's expensive. You have to get out there.
Yeah.
The crowds
Yeah.
and everyone gets so fucking wasted at those games, and they're fighting and shit.
Mate, and it's going for a piss all the time for me.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Can't get the bathroom.
Like, I don't want to have a beer in a stadium because I know I'm just going to have a piss in 10 minutes and it's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to miss the game.
That's what I did in France.
Yeah.
The bathroom situation in the stadiums in France were pretty dire
Just pissing
too.
the ashtray in there, isn't it?
Yeah, and there was not enough toilets, and they're just packed, and you're waiting. So I almost was like, oh man, I shouldn't have another drink because
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking take a piss and
Yeah.
have to
Paid
go.
a lot of money for these tickets. Like,
Yeah,
every second is money.
yeah, it's true. So, but wow, that fucking Drew game.
Mentally.
Yeah,
Fucking mental.
what
Yeah.
a fucking chaos.
It was
Pure fucking
chaos rugby, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Entertaining, but I didn't really. If their jersey had been, I wouldn't have known who was winning. Do you know what I mean? There was no sense of one team has ascendancy or one team has better shapes and structure. There was no narrative to it, right? It was just a fucking free for all.
It was just the most wild
Mental.
fucking game. We're lucky we watched the second game.
Yeah, we
Because
are.
if we would have shut down after that, we're like, okay,
Yeah.
we watched the Drew's Warthogs and we shut that thing down. We're like, fuck.
Well, yeah, that's
Like,
what they're on about Super
What
Rugby.
the fuck? Yeah,
Yeah.
we're lucky we watched the Chiefs fucking Highlanders
Yeah.
and we're like, okay,
Yeah.
there's some rugby here, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that was just fucking insane.
It was mad, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. I felt like Highlanders got off to a bit of a Patchell had a bit of a shocker to start with, actually. Kicked two straight into touch from the start. And they just couldn't assert themselves, could they? And Chiefs just took their opportunities. Chiefs looked like a real Kiwi team, didn't they? Whenever the ball got loose, got into the hands of Damien Kenzie, just sprint through a gap, and he's got the support lines of Kiwi players, man, is amazing.
That's what we were talking when we were watching it.
Yeah, they're so fast and they
that's the
support
big
so
difference.
well.
And whenever someone has a ball, there's a support
There's
player
a guy there. Yeah.
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 Because we were kind of questioning, we're like, man, it's kind of incredible how this is the teams that build the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Because there is some kind of odd things that the way they play.
The step up from their club game to their international is what we're always questioning, right?
Yeah.
It's how do they make that jump?
But when you're watching them attack,
Yeah.
and how there's always a guy in the slot there,
And
ready.
as fast as you,
Yeah,
right?
and the speed of the game.
The speed of it, yeah.
Yeah, whew.
Yeah.
It's hot.
I would say
Sexy.
because I was saying to you, it's the slowest Kiwi back is about as fast as a Northern Hemisphere back, right? The way they just punch a hole and they've got a guy either side of them ready to catch and they're all sprinting full tilt and they could, if they get tackled, that offload's going to come off. What I was saying about Patchell is, we were taking the piss about the Kiwi pundits going, I must have learned to offload in New Zealand. He was doing that in Wales, but the difference is when he was doing those offloads, a Kiwi can catch him.
Yeah.
A Welsh guy is dropping it in the rain half the time, right? So he was trying stuff. It just wasn't coming off. But when he tries it in New Zealand, it works.
Yeah.
Because his support players are that skillful, right?
Yeah, the attack is class. It's next level stuff.
It is, eh?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like wizardry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the spectacle of both games, and they were very different games. And I'm definitely invested more in Super Rugby than I've ever been. So I'm excited to watch a couple more. And in this time zone, it kind of works for us, right?
Yeah.
So I'm up for it. But
Yeah.
fucking hell, it's a mental tournament.
Let's do our last topic here. Let's get into some the attack on our great game of rugby union, which I'm calling an attack.
Changing the law.
Change the law.
Changing the law, rugby.
Yeah. There's some law changes in here that I agree
bullshit.
with.
Oh, okay.
There's some law changes I agree with.
Yeah.
There's some law changes I don't agree with
Yeah.
that I think are very impactful.
Yeah. And we're going to go to conspiracy corner today as well.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the conspiracy covered for today. Don't you worry. Let's talk about the law changes first, though.
Well, I'm just gonna talk about the ones that I'm gonna talk about the couple of ones that the caterpillar ruck thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to go.
And it is okay. So I agree with the idea to get rid of it, right? And the way they're gonna do that is by telling the 9 to use it much quicker. The problem is enforcing it. And I think this was the same problem we had with when they started to have this 5-second use it rule, and it just was not enforced after a while. I'm worried this will be the same thing here.
I'm worried they're just going to add a bunch of clocks to everything. There's going to be clocks for this, clocks for that. There's a clock. There's going to be all these timers for everything.
Getting a bit Byzantine, isn't it? Yeah, but they will. If the refs can consistently administer these rules, enforce these rules, it'll work. But I'm cynical for now. But it's the right thing. It needs because you can't just say you can't have a caterpillar ruck, right? There's no. If you have one person going in to seal your ball, then you've got the 9 coming in. Your ball is always in danger of being stolen if you can clear out the attacker. Mm-hmm. You know, so if you can put a second player into the breakdown and a third player, there's no way to stop that happening, right? There's no way to stop the caterpillar, but you can prevent people milking it by giving your team more time to reset, right? As soon as a second player comes in to seal off the breakdown, it's like the ref is like 5 seconds, go. Second player's in, got to kick it. So I'm hoping that's what happens, and I'm hoping they bloody enforce it as well. We'll see.
One I did not like is the maul. They're trying to get the grubby hands in the maul. So the maul, like you get 2 stops, you have to use the ball.
Yeah.
Now they want to move it to 1.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, the ball's a messy, dirty place.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you might get a stop where you have to guys are probably still setting up in that stop.
Yeah.
And I don't like that at all.
I agree with it in part because too often a team is given way too much time to set up their maul, right? So I think you should have 2 stops, but the time, the amount of time it takes for the ref to call that's a stop should be much quicker. If the maul isn't moving, that's a stop. Yeah. That's it. Mm-hmm. Right? No ifs or buts. It's done. But if it's moving, you should still have 2, I reckon, because a little break to kind of change the angle is fine.
Yeah, maybe call the first stop
pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it's not moving right away, that's a stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just about enforcing it. It's about the refs just need to be stricter in both cases. The caterpillar ruck and
because I know the maul is a weapon a lot of teams use. The maul is also really hard to defend.
Very hard to defend.
But it's defendable. And teams do it all the time.
They do, and I think teams have recently gotten better at it. I just don't like that if you take a long time to get it set up. For me, that's bullshit, right? Because what is 15 other people on the defending team allowed to do while they're like rummaging the ball around in there like a fucking time bomb, you know? Fuck that. It's got to be moving and rumbling immediately for me.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I don't know. It's kind of just like, I don't know. It's kind of scary. Also, the new scrum law.
That one's bullshit.
Where they can opt for a kick.
Yeah. So if you were allowed a free kick option after you called the mark, you could opt for a scrum. And now you can't. Mm-hmm. And you are not allowed a second scrum.
Yep.
If it's a free kick, not a penalty, I think, right? Is that the way it is?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah? Something like that. But in both cases, you're basically saying we don't like the scrum.
It's putting a negative connotation on the scrum.
That's my big problem.
This is part of the game.
It's a big part of the game.
And oh man, there was 12 scrums in that game.
Yeah, good.
And they took up let's say each scrum took up a minute of time.
Yeah.
Or even a minute of half.
Yeah.
A minute and 30 seconds of scrum time per scrum.
Yeah.
Right? Why is that a negative thing?
I love it.
That's part of the game.
And if they collapse and we're talking about it and everyone's taking a little break and having a breather and a laugh, it's part of the fucking game.
Oh, there was 20 minutes or 15 minutes of scrum.
I don't want 80 minutes of little guys running around each other.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing, right? The premise of the game, half the fucking team, the forwards, every position is named after their position relative to the scrum. One is propping up the scrum. One is hooking the ball in a scrum. One is locking the scrum. They're fucking named after the scrum.
Yeah.
You want to get rid of that? You want this to be rugby league? It's like you were saying the other day, they want to turn it into fucking ultimate frisbee more than they want to turn into rugby league.
Yeah, it's just wild. And it's really, when you look at this, it feels like World Rugby is targeting the box.
So now it's time to conspiracy hour, right? So here's the conspiracy, and I know this is gonna. It's mostly intended as humor, so don't fucking go mental about it. I'm making a joke, right? But isn't it funny how New Zealand will trial all these laws, right? Oh, we'll trial the 20-minute rid, see how it goes, and then as soon as they've done that, they go to World Rugby and go, this actually worked. Let's try that.
It just
feels like they have a monopoly on how the game should be played.
Yeah, because who has lost some significant games because of cards?
Yeah,
and having a player taken out for the whole game.
Yeah,
All Blacks.
Yeah,
all of a sudden they're trialing a
20-minute red.
20-minute red.
Yeah,
it's a 20-minute red. You're like, oh, okay, that's really
Yeah. And these law changes which we've discussed, not the 20-minute red, but these law changes we've just discussed, they disproportionately affect the Springboks strategies, right? They've weaponized the scrum. Like, if you can't beat them at the scrum, you can't win a game of rugby. That is it. The scrum is integral to our game, and if the Springboks are the best at it, they're gonna win rugby games. That, for me, that's the fucking game of rugby. And if you don't like it, fuck off to league.
And the weirdest thing too is it's not that like the Boks destroy, like they destroy teams at scrum.
Yeah,
but it's not like they're destroying teams throughout the game.
No,
like they won the World Cup by winning a point a game.
Yeah,
by 1 point.
They were close games.
In 3 games in a row, they only won by 1 point.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like an extremely dominant team.
No.
Right? Like they scraped by.
They've been innovative, whereas historically New Zealand will bring out these innovations in rugby and everyone go, that's so smart. South Africa do it and everyone's going, change the fucking rules. I don't like that. And it's not like they've got bad backs. Cheslin Colby, Curtly Andrew, 2 of the best wingers in the fucking world. Are we going to forget they exist? Mm-hmm. And another problem I have with this is, let's say we're talking about kids getting into rugby and we say this is a game for all shapes and sizes. The subtext is you can play rugby even if you're small. But if you
play
look at
rugby even if you're a big boy.
Exactly. The other end of that spectrum is if you're a massive kid and you get bullied for being a bigger kid, it's like, I've got a sport for you, mate. You could be a fucking legend in the scrum. Mm-hmm. Are we saying we don't want him? Because that's what it sounds like,
You want
right?
to be a hero?
Yeah. Like, we can make you a hero. The fat kid on the playground is getting bullied. I'm going to make you a fucking rock star, mate.
Yeah.
We can do that in this game. And I love it for that, right? Mm-hmm. You want to get rid of that? Like, no, thank you. That's rugby league.
Yeah. It's scary because you love the game so much.
Yeah.
And you saw it in the MLR too. Like they nerfed the scrum.
Yeah.
With their laws.
Yeah.
And it just not a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to change the body size of the players.
You are.
Because if the scrum becomes, because like I know like that new rule is not going to nerf the scrum.
Yeah.
But it's just it's that trickle effect.
It takes it away as an attacking threat.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. The scrum should be a restart method, and it is, but it's also something you can opt for as a penalty, i.e. as an attacking weapon. Yeah. And you take that away, like, no, I don't like that.
And I don't like the fact, too, that they were bringing in, they're also mulling over the idea of having a clock for the scrum.
Mm.
Like, now you're going to rush these guys to, like, get into, like, how is that safe?
Yeah.
Like, it's 2 trucks.
Yeah.
Like smashing into each other. Like these guys got to get set up.
It's nearly 1,000 kilograms either side, right?
Especially after you've been playing 70 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to take a little bit for these big boys to get over there and set up. Like, but you got to let them set. Like the power in the scrum is so immense. The impact is so immense. Like you don't want to be rushing these guys.
No, especially not in the setup for a scrum, right?
No,
that needs to be carefully.
Because now you're going to have guys rushing over, trying to set up as fast as you can, and then you're going to have even more fucked up scrums.
Yeah. And so one thing I could see being safer for the game and increasing the craziness at the end, which I do like. I do like it when it opens up and there's lots of tries, right? Is I could have a conversation about the bench, right? And again, that would disproportionately affect this innovative technique South Africa have brought in. But let's not forget, other teams have tried to do what South Africa did, right? When Ireland tried the 6-2 split against England, it backfired because a couple of their backs got injured, right?
Yeah.
But when South Africa done it, it's worked. But let's not pretend it's like this magic bullet. It does backfire on teams. But if you want to talk about making the game safer and you want to talk about opening it up a bit, just have less substitutes. I don't care if they're forwards or backs. Change it from whatever to whatever.
Laws on what kind of substitutes you can have.
Yep, exactly. You could say like it. All I'm saying is, if you can bring on 3, 4, 5, 6 massive forwards, that is a bit dangerous sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you could only bring on 3 or 4, and that's all your subs, and they could be backs or forwards, all of a sudden the game's more open because everyone's more tired. And it's not making it dangerous. We're introducing 3 brand new, fresh beasts against a knackered front row, you know? Because it is turning into a bit of a game of chess. It's like, when and how do you do these substitutions? I don't hate that. I think it's interesting, but there is a safety issue there, But it's, again, if you did that, I'm certain it would disproportionately affect South Africa's innovative methods, which have been effective for them, right? So I'm not convinced by either, right?
Yeah, because I think the difference between the box innovation and, like, let's say the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Like, the All Blacks were really innovative in their, like, field of, like, in playing in the field.
Yeah.
Right? So they were innovative, like, the way they attacked with the ball.
Yeah.
Right? How their offense works.
Yeah.
Like, that's where they kind of, like, changed the game.
Yeah. Their pod system.
Yeah.
And they'd start having, like, wing props and stuff. That was really cool, actually, because they're bringing the forwards into athletic positions,
And then where the box, I think, came in too, besides their power, was they really were able to, like, look at the rules and be like, find some loopholes.
Yeah. But I think
and
they weren't
expose the
loopholes, though, were they? They were things you could already do, but everyone thought it was too stupid to try it.
Like using a fucking light.
Well,
like a traffic light.
Okay, that was a bit,
Right?
that was a bit weird.
The
but,
water boy shit. Like,
yeah, that was a bit bullshit.
Like they really kind of stretch those things, but if it's there, it's there.
Totally.
Right? And if it was really detrimental to the game, we wouldn't
be arguing about it if everyone thought it was a good idea,
and
right?
you got to be honest, like, too, like, you're not talking about, like, if the Springboks are just coming in and just destroying everyone.
Yeah.
Which they don't.
No, they don't. It's close games.
They win games because they're a really good team.
They do.
They win games because they're a really big physical team.
Yeah.
But they're not, like, just destroying everyone.
No, they're not mincing anybody, are they?
Yeah,
Right.
it wasn't even before that. Like, the All Blacks put them to town in South Africa.
Yeah, they fucking hammered them last year.
They hammered them.
Yeah.
Right? And yes, the Springboks hammered them.
Yeah.
I think that game was in England or something like that.
Yeah.
In the warm-ups.
Yeah.
But they're not this like ultra dominant team where other teams can't even play.
No.
Like, they're so, like, the scrum is so on their favor that the other teams can't even play rugby anymore.
No, totally. And if you look at their last 2 World Cup campaigns, like, England nearly beat them in that last World Cup. They were fucking a kick away from beating them.
Yeah.
Right? And the final, that was a close fucking game. And they did lose in the pool stages. The only team to have ever lost a pool stage game and won the World Cup is South Africa twice in a row.
These new rules, they really are suspiciously. It's really suspicious.
It feels conspiratorial to me.
It does.
Yeah.
Like, are you guys really, like, trying? Like, are you guys just like really sour?
Yeah.
That the Boks are good at these things. It just looks targeted.
Yeah, it does.
At the team that won 2 World Cups in a row.
Yeah, and New Zealand have had their period of dominance. They won back-to-back World Cups. And everyone was loving it. And let's remember, they were dominant.
Yeah.
They were hammering teams. And they were good. And, like, I'm not complaining. That was fucking cool. Like, they were really good and innovative.
And you didn't hear anyone being like, oh, we should get rid of offloads.
Yeah.
Exactly. We should get rid of sick passes.
Yeah. You know? Exactly. It's like, no, you can't have a prop on the wing. It's not fair to the wingers. Like, no, fuck that. Like, they do what you want.
Yeah, leave the scrum alone.
Yeah.
If you don't like rugby union, you can go watch Diet Rugby, Rugby League.
Exactly.
Less rugby.
Yeah.
Literally less rugby. If you like less rugby, just go watch League.
I genuinely want a sport where big fat guys and little skinny guys can have a good old time together. And if you take away the scrum, that's what you're doing. You're reducing that. You know.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
All right, we preached.
We preached.
Spread some truth. Shine the light on the conspiracy. Yeah.
Well, friends, if you have any questions, concerns,
complaints, please.
If you need someone to talk to,
I got passionate there.
Yeah. You could email us at thefriendsofrugbypod@gmail.com.
And subscribe.
Like and subscribe and share the podcast.
We're on YouTube.
Help the community grow.
We're on Spotify.
We're everywhere.
We're in my house.
Yeah, we're in your house.
We're everywhere.
At 115.
Shut up.
But yeah. All right, friends, you have a good night.
All right, take it easy.